And now, folks, let's go over to our man, Mr. Chris Gaffney. Chris is the senior market strategist at EverBank World Markets. And you talk about having someone on at the right time when you have currencies imploding across the world. Chris, welcome to TFNN.
Thanks.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, I'm telling you, first off, thanks for being on. And, folks, as you're listening and over at TFNN, you're going to see the EverBank banner on the right-hand side. Now, you can hit that banner, and you get to EverBank and hit investing. And right there, you're going to see foreign currency bank accounts, precious metals, market-safe CDs. So let's talk a little first, Chris, about Russia. And I know you're the strategist. You know a lot about currencies. How can something go down 19% in one night?
Well, it was an attempt by the Russian central bank to actually combat the negative sentiment in the markets on the Russian currency, and they raised interest rates. So they pushed interest rates up dramatically, and in an attempt to stop the free fall of the Russian currency. Now, what's led to the Russian currency falling is the drop in crude prices, along with the sanctions. Russia has really faced what many have termed the perfect storm as far as their currency, in that they've got the number one commodity that their economy depends on has fallen dramatically at the same time as global sanctions have really taken hold. So this really put their currency into a free fall. The Russian central bank stepped in and tried in a what the investors are now seeing as a desperate move to stop the fall of the currency with increasing interest rates. And in fact, we offer a Russian ruble-denominated bank account here at EverBank, and we've actually had investors today calling in to see if they could take advantage of maybe the big drop in prices. So
let's talk about that. It's amazing. I should have realized that. I was on the way to work this morning, right, and I'm saying to myself, I said, okay, we know that Russia has oil. We know that things are tough. There's no doubt about it. But I was thinking the exact same thing myself. I'm saying to myself, how can I buy some rubles?
Yeah.
It's not. You don't have to go hand over fist. But the reality is that, for the year it's down 52%. Overnight, 19%. So talk to me about how these accounts work, Chris.
Yeah, they're bank accounts denominated in foreign currencies. So we call them world currency access deposit accounts.
Yes.
The minimum deposit is $2,500 US.
Okay.
And we take your US dollars and convert them into foreign currency, or you can if you own euros or if you own Swiss francs, you can send those in and actually deposit the foreign currency into the account. We hold the account in an FDIC-insured bank account, very liquid, and at any time you can call us and have us convert back into U.S. dollars, or have us send out the foreign currency so we can send the foreign currency back to you. The access accounts are liquid. They're demand deposit accounts. So they do earn interest once they hit certain deposit levels. So it's a tiered interest rate structure. With the way global interest rates are right now, with how low global interest rates, most of those access deposit accounts currently are not earning interest. But some of the higher yielding currencies, Russia being one of them, you would earn an interest rate in that currency while you're holding it.
That is so cool you have those. That's amazing. And if folks wanted to get one of these accounts, first they'd come to EverBank. Now, do I go under investing when I'm at EverBank?
Exactly.
Okay.
Or if you're interested in opening an account, enroll now or apply now. There's a button on most of the screens that takes you into our online application.
Right, exactly. Okay. And, in that context, I was just bringing up, I see you also have a precious metal account, and it's really intriguing because when you bring up the Russia ruble in gold terms, it's just, I've been in this market for a long time, and I don't think I've seen gold go up in any type of currency terms is up 85% in 45 days.
Yeah, and we do offer gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. We have both unallocated and allocated accounts, and the difference there is in the unallocated account, you're just buying a number of ounces of that metal,
yes.
and you're not specifying how that's being held for you. Whereas on the allocated accounts, you're purchasing 5 gold eagles or 20 silver maple leaf coins. So
yes.
You can decide how you want to purchase it. Both of the accounts are subject to currency fluctuation and are non-FDIC insured. So that's one of the things about the metals accounts is that they are not FDIC insured. But again, they are ways for investors to go right into the metals. You spoke about the Russian situation in
yes.
there right now. The metals a lot of times are seen as safe havens for certainly inflation protection and a lot of times for catastrophe insurance, if you will. So we typically, when we see times of great volatility,
yes.
You'll see people moving back into the physical metals, gold in particular.
What's amazing, Chris, is that, and folks, over the course of years, you know that gold is an insurance policy, no doubt. And it went from 282 in 2001 up to 1900 in 2012, right? And bottom line, you have a huge pullback. You could pull back to 1200, and even in that context, I think this is one of the first times I've seen that as an insurance policy, particularly because I remember when the Russian, if you weren't around basically 20 years ago, folks, what happened? People were billionaires in Russia, and then they were broke overnight. And that was, what was that? That was like 4 weeks and 15 years ago, right? So it's like seeing this again. It's like, oh my God! I mean, because it can happen in more than one country.
Right, and we've seen a similar situation, in Latin America before, and certainly in Mexico we had a big currency drop. So, yeah, and it's not saying that gold isn't volatile. Also, as you pointed out, we've seen it drop also. But certainly, for the long-term investor, we preach diversification.
Sure.
We preach diversification. We think it's smart to be diversified into these asset classes, currency and metals, and again, we think it's smart to have at least a portion of your portfolio invested into those asset classes.
Now, can you talk a little bit about, and as you're over at EverBank, folks, you hit the investing tab first. And what you're going to see underneath that investing tab, you're going to see foreign currency bank accounts, you're going to see precious metals, you're also going to see market safe CDs. Talk to me about how that works.
Our market safe CDs are a fairly unique product, and they're CDs that with a $1,500 minimum deposit.
Yes.
And these CDs are geared towards a certain index. So, for example, the latest one we just got done offering was a BRICS basket, which the market safe paid on the upside of the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South African currencies. So
yes.
The unique part about the market safe CDs in relation to the other CD products that we offer is that market safe CDs are principal protected. You cannot lose principal. So they're typically longer term CDs. This last issue we just did had a 3-year maturity. So
okay.
Your investor, the investors would buy that CD, and then at the end of 3 years they get paid the market upside of those 5 currencies. If those 5 currencies in fact drop versus the U.S. dollar, then you would actually get just your principal back. So if the average value of those currencies drop, you get your principal. So your principal is protected.
How good is that? Right.
It gives you the potential for upside and protects you against downside risk. And so right now we don't have one. We're working on another issue right now. We hope to have one. If listeners just keep track of that investing tab, we certainly typically will put a banner out there and alert them to any new market safes that we have on.
Nice. Now, I'd like to go back to the currency, foreign currency again, particularly because, we've got different calls in here, and this is really the time of the year that it happens, too, because you have children graduating from high school, going to colleges, and, folks go to school overseas. I remember getting a few calls last year that people were saying, well, listen, man, my son's going and my daughter's going to school in Europe. How can I basically protect myself? And I actually had brought up your accounts.
Yep.
And that's really neat in the aspect that when someone's going delta neutral, like if they, and what I mean specifically, folks, is that you wouldn't be trading it. What it is, you have a bill. If you're happy with the U.S. dollar, you say, okay, I pay that bill right now. Well, you can do that by transferring your dollars into the currency where your son or daughter is going to college.
Right.
And
that's what the big corporations do.
Sure.
That's what your big corporations do in hedging their currency exposure, and certainly you can do that. And you're fixing your costs, so you don't have to fluctuate with the market, and you don't have to worry about that $10,000 bill that you're going to get a year from now in Australian dollars. Is it going to be $8,000 as it is right now, or is it going to be $10,000,
Right.
And so you can hedge that by buying the Aussie now, and then if that Australian dollar increases in value a year from now, when it's time to pay the bill, you can either figure out how to transfer the Aussie dollars if they'll accept Aussie dollars for payment,
yes.
or you can just sell it and book that profit and then turn around and pay your bill at that time.
Yes. And folks, if you'd like to read Chuck and Chris each and every day, you can go to dailypfennig.com, and that's spelled DAILYPFENNIG.com. Okay, great commentary that they write every day. Hey, I was just reading what you had wrote up yesterday, and it's really cool, man. There's no doubt at the end there you're talking about, do I want something that was made in China, or do I want something that, bottom line, either you made, someone made, you knew, and that's real living, isn't it?
Yeah, and one of the things that we talk about in the Daily Pfennig is, again, currencies are going to fluctuate. Currencies, they can be quite volatile, but
yes.
By adding them to a portfolio, it's going to actually reduce the risk overall, because they don't react the same way the equity markets do or the bond markets do. So again, it's a way to actually decrease the overall risk of a portfolio. At the same time, you can possibly get upside potential depending on what happens to the currencies. Right now, the dollar is strong, and it's been strong, but not against all currencies. And the Chinese currency is one that we've offered accounts in the Chinese renminbi for a number of years now. In fact, even before they started letting it float. And many believe that China is the next global reserve currency. Many believe that that's the way we're heading. And if so, I think it's smart to have at least some of your investment portfolio denominated in the Chinese currency. So that's one of the currencies that has been one of the better performers over the last couple of years.
Yes, and folks, the way that you can find out about the foreign currency bank accounts, the precious metal bank accounts, come over to our website at TFNN. You happen to be driving in your car, you don't have to write it down. It's EverBank.com, or just go to TFNN. You hit the banner on the right-hand side. You bring it up. You're going to go right into investing. And right there, you get the foreign currency bank accounts. When you hit that, you're going to see that it says open now. And bottom line is that, I'm going to see what this ruble's going to do tonight, Chris, but I'm telling you. No, seriously, because, I mean, it's not like you have to throw a huge amount of money in there, but it's like, hold it, man. Russia is not going to, go broke.
Right, Tom.
You know?
I would say it's definitely a speculator's game right now.
It is.
Definitely.
It is. And that's okay.
You know,
right.
Yeah. But for $2,500 minimum, I mean,
exactly.
as long as it's money that you
can lose,
you can speculate with.
Yep.
You know.
That's right, no doubt. Hey, Chris, thank you so much. You have a great holiday, a safe holiday, and we appreciate the update, and I really appreciate you coming on. This couldn't be a better day to get an expert in the currency market on in a huge way.
Thanks,
no
Tom.
doubt.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, man. Have a great one. Have a safe one.